I'm a veteran and I utilize my benefits in order to help me purchase a home out in Texas. But I didn't utilize my VA loan, but I used my VA loan to help me get to Texas. I'm going to break this down. I'm going to show you guys what I did in order to capitalize on my benefits to move to Texas. I'm going to do it with my friend here, Josh Payne. If you guys don't know who he is, you need to subscribe to him, because if you're watching this video, you're more than likely a vet and you want to learn more about your benefits, specifically your VA loan. And Josh has a YouTube channel that talks about all your VA benefits, specifically the VA loan, and he's killing it. And he is the knowledge, what is it? Knowledge, what can we say? The knowledge, the
subject
VA,
matter expert.
Yep, subject matter expert of the VA loan.
I've done this once or twice.
Yeah. So he is the subject matter expert of the VA loan, and I refer to him with all the VA loans out here in Texas. So he's going to be the main point of contact with this. He's going to help me out with breaking down the certificate of eligibility, which you would need in order to help you purchase a home in any state, but we're talking about Texas today. Yeah. I'll break this down to you. I purchased my fourplex through my VA loan in 2021, I believe.
Okay.
And you saw my COE.
Yep.
And it gave the breakdown of everything, right? So I purchased at $860,000, which basically took up most, if, as you saw, all of my entitlement. And can you explain entitlement real quick?
Yes. So there are two different forms of entitlement. There's basic entitlement and there is bonus entitlement. Basic entitlement is what everyone starts off with. So when prior to Danny purchasing his fourplex, and that was your first time using your VA loan. So before he closed on that or bought that fourplex, he had basic entitlement because he had no VA loans on his certificate of eligibility. As soon as he purchased that fourplex, he now goes from basic entitlement to bonus entitlement whenever he tries to buy another property and keep the original property. So that's how basic and bonus entitlement works. Basic, everyone starts off there. That allows you to buy up to whatever you can income and credit qualify for. It doesn't matter what the loan amount is. There is no limit. But then as soon as you go to bonus entitlement, there is a limit. And that limit is always dependent upon however much you borrowed when you bought the first property.
Now, your head is probably spinning after hearing all that. Yeah. He has a YouTube video breaking that all down again. Or you can just call us down below and we'll break it all down for you. Or just make it easy and tell you, hey, this is what you're approved for. This is what you're not approved for. But, and that, like, that's the basic way to learn that information for yourself. So I used up a majority of my entitlement with that fourplex. So that fourplex obviously turned into a rental property fully. And my mortgage is right around $4,400 a month, but my rents right now are $6,500. So
rough life.
Yeah, I'm hurting.
It's a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good though. That's
yeah, that's the goal. Yeah. It was the goal. So one of the things that I think a lot of people need to pay attention to is that you want to supersede the mortgage a specific amount to make sure that it's not a liability rather than an asset. Yeah. So you want to be 75% or above in regards to the rents when keeping that as a rental property. When you purchase your second property down the line, let's say you have a property in whatever state, you want to make sure that when that turns into a rental property, which I do suggest, if you have one property, like, keep it. Keep it as long as you can and turn it into a rental property, and make sure that the rents are 25% above what the mortgage is. You agree?
I do, to an extent.
Okay.
I think that it depends on the situation that's at hand, because typically rents trail mortgage.
Right.
So mistake I think some home buyers make is if they know they're buying a property that they're going to convert to a rental, and you think that it's going to be just simply easy to where you're going to cash flow on that rental where you didn't put any money down when you bought the house, is a very hard realization that people have to come to. When you put minimal down payment on anything, that's part why there isn't a minimal down payment investment loan, is because it doesn't really fully make sense. That's why you look at investment property loans and they're 15% down, 20% down, 25% down, is because in order for it to really cash flow, you need to have some form of equity in there so that the payment's small enough.
That's where intent, and I think intent really comes into play. And it's a thing that I innately think about, but it's like, I'm glad we're having this discussion because when you bounce this off of somebody, you're able to interpret a little bit better. So what I look at is potential in regards to the property itself. So potential value increase, equity increase, rental increase, everything like that.
I do too. I like the futures. I pay attention to the futures typically. Where is it going to be in 3 to 5 years in terms of cash flow? I think is a better focus than where is it always right now.
Yeah.
If you can afford it right now.
But expect now. And the intent of these, of a VA property or a property that's purchased through a VA loan is that it's going to be your primary residence.
Right.
So you're going to be there for at least a few years, hopefully. I mean, if you're not buying something, not going to be there for a couple of years, like it's
risky.
Yeah, it is risky.
2 years is what I actually advise.
Right.
As a minimum, it's 1 year is the requirement, but I do advise. I try to tell people try to be there 2 years, and I have a reason for that, but.
Yeah. So one way to capitalize on your VA benefits is to buy a second property. Keep your first property, hold it until as long as you can, and then you can purchase a second property in Texas. As like I came from California, so property prices are much higher,
Slightly.
So like double.
Yeah.
And you have life is just so different in California. I find that it's been a lot better out here in Texas, but that's my personal experience, right? But I think the next thing that I would want everyone to start thinking about in regards to your benefits is your VA disability. And I push this as much as I can. And I'm rated at 80%, and I have 2 kids and I have a wife. So you can actually Google what I'm making through the VA. That is another major benefit that I think a lot of people don't realize. That is going to help you with purchasing a property. Now, the intent is not to get your VA rating to purchase a property. Like if you're broken, go get your VA disability. If they broke it, they got to buy it. They got to pay for it. Can you explain what the major benefit is of having a disability benefit aside, and we'll talk about the funding fee afterwards, but I think the income portion, I think a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, I mean, if we're speaking strictly to income, it's qualifying income that you can use to qualify for a home, right? I haven't seen it yet, and I don't really forecast seeing it, where if you have less than 100% disability, and that being your sole source of income, I haven't seen that be the case where someone could be able to qualify for a house. I do get the question often, and I have to tell people it's just simply because the amount that you're receiving is so small compared to what your mortgage payment's going to be, and also whatever your other monthly expenses and liabilities are. So if you're collecting 100% VA disability, someone can afford to qualify for a house, depending on how much house they're trying to buy. Obviously, what market they're in. If we're focusing on Texas allows you to not have those property taxes. So that's one major benefit there. But other than the 100% rating, if you have that other source of income, like your situation is 80%, and then you have other sources of income, that's additional qualifying income that can be there. That is non-taxable income to help you be able to qualify for a house. Whereas your other forms of income are taxable income, and that heavily affects what you qualify for, because the VA uses residual income to qualify you, and residual income does factor in federal, state, Social Security, and Medicare taxes on that residual income calculation to determine what you have left over. So
super technical. Okay, and go to his channel. He breaks it all down.
Right.
But like that's a major benefit. People don't realize that you can utilize that. It's untaxed income. You don't file it with your taxes, but you can use it to help you buy a house.
Correct.
So that was one major thing that helped me with purchasing my property. I'm coming into Texas with starting a new business essentially. And the worry that my lender had was that, okay, he's coming in at zero. But I had to prove the fact, like, no, I'm not coming in at zero. I have income coming in. And I also have business that is still operating out in California. So I'm proving that as the transactions we're going through. And if you are a business owner, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that too, and paying attention to how your income is coming in and how the move is going to affect your income that's coming in. So I think those are the two major things. One thing that I think is a lot of people asking me about is like, hey, if I'm going to school and I'm getting BAH, can I use that income? No.
That's a common question.
Yeah, it is a very common question. I got asked that just last week.
Voc Rehab and BAH,
Yeah, so it's not going to work because it's temporary income, right?
Yep, that's correct.
So
and it can end at any time.
Yeah, you could just fail a class and just like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Any other benefits that you think of? Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the major benefits that you mentioned earlier was being at 100%.
Yep.
If you're rated at 100% disability rating, you don't have to pay property tax, and that's like a third of a mortgage out here in Texas.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's pretty much a third of your mortgage in some situations, depending on where you're located. It can be a large chunk of income or monthly payment that you're paying on a property. I would say, I mean, if you're looking at maybe a $300,000 house or $400,000 house, you could be looking at $600 a month.
And like there's other things that people need to pay attention to. Some communities don't have, or like, yes, you could, if you're at 100%, you're not going to pay a majority of the taxes, but a portion of those taxes still need to get paid, because some taxes like a PID or a water improvement district, they don't allow for exemptions because it's just part of the bylaws there. So, or it's part of the restrictions that they have there. So that's something to pay attention to when you're coming into a specific community. Like one of the communities that we toured recently, Mayfair. Like your wife works at Mayfair. Your fiance, excuse me.
You can call her wife. It'll change.
Right, got it.
By the time this comes out, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm the
Can you
best man.
imagine?
I'm just putting it out there. I'm going to be the best man.
I thought you were officiating.
Oh, yes.
Jeez, dude, get it together.
I'll be there with a beer in my hand and just like, say I do or something.
Yeah.
But
You know, kiss the bride.
I guess you. All right. I think that's all really I wanted to talk about. I wanted to clarify those things. I think that those were the major benefits that I have. I don't have the full 100% tax benefit yet. I'm working on getting 100% because I'm all jacked up. But
We know.
yeah, I'm all jacked up inside. I hopefully that helped you guys with deciding whether or not it's a good opportunity for you to move to Texas, or if you're if you currently live in Texas and you don't own a property and that's something that you want to capitalize on. I think it's going to be very helpful. If you have any questions about it, leave a comment down below. Follow Josh. He has a great YouTube channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.